What it do, you, to today's video. I want to chime in with a quick impromptu video. In today's video, I want to talk about, it's really my intro, but today's episode is going to be episode 2 of the Esoteric Files. You see what I'm saying? And, in today's episode, we're just going to talk about just random, stuff that's going on in the world. But it's not like completely random, it's relevant. You could call it R&R, relevant and random. You see what I'm saying? Because it's random stuff that we just keep talking about, but it's actually relevant to what's going on in the world today. So basically, right, just to give you guys a recap, so of the first episode, in the pilot episode, it was one episode, but it had 2 parts. So for example, episode of Dragon Ball Z, if you watch anime, Dragon Ball Z, they usually do like one episode. I mean, not like just one episode, but they do multiple episodes. But let's just say like in one particular episode, I can't give you like an example. I can't think of one on the top of my mind, but I can tell you how the sequence goes. So basically it's like this. Okay, so in Dragon Ball Z, they have one episode, and then it's not like a new episode, it's the same episode, but it's in the second part. So it'd be like some shit that go down, and it'd be like to be continued. And the episode will either come on right after that, or probably come on like next week or some shit. But that's usually what it is. That's basically how it is. It's episode 1, but it's part 1. So I did episode 1, part 2. So you get it, it's the same episode, it's the part 1 or part 2. Now this is episode 2. I'm not sure if it's going to be in parts or not. I haven't decided that part yet. Now, in this episode, really, let's talk about I had this crazy ass epiphany last night that not sure how many of you guys are familiar with Milton William Cooper, aka known as William Cooper, the guy who wrote the book Behold the Pale Horse. Now, fucking craziest shit ever happened with this author and with this book. I also want to say rest in peace to Milton William Cooper. You know what I'm saying? To me, personally, you know what I'm saying? We got like a lot of American heroes, but when it comes to like American heroes, he's like probably in the top 5. You see what I'm saying? And the reason that makes William Cooper so cold is the fact that he actually served in the Navy. You see what I'm saying? As a naval intelligence officer, he had access to like some crazy ass classified documents about how American government was working with aliens and shit. And this is real. This is from Navy intelligence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is naval intelligence. This is real shit. So he knew the inside scoop on stuff that other people did know, but what's so important about this shit and what classifies this shit is that even back in the day, because William Cooper, he was born in 1943 in California, and he served in the Navy. Hey, good morning. He served in the Navy, and he was a naval intelligence officer, and he had access to like classified documents that people didn't. So when he put this information out, the government, they started to put out what you would call disinformation agents. So basically, it's somebody who is supposed to counteract the truth. So you could basically say, like, in I want to say every generation. I think that's what you would call it, because every generation is like 100 years. So like, I'm not sure if it's every generation or every couple generations, but let's just say every generation or whatever, right? And you know, it's always like an American hero or somebody that's you know what I'm saying, like that God bring their soul back to like send a message to the people, to wake up the people, like a messenger, a prophet. Really don't want to use those terminologies because those are very powerful words. You see what I'm saying? But that's basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? And blessings come in unusual forms, especially if you're aware of spirituality. You know this. You see what I'm saying? You know this. There's no questions. None of that shit. You know blessings come in unusual forms and shit. And that's why when you in spirituality, or you waking up to the shit that's going on, that's why it's best to keep your third eye open and to keep your mind open. See, your third eye and your mind is two different things. See, how do you feel to get into that? How do you feel to get into that? You see what I'm saying? Because, like for example, like your soul and your spirit is two different things. You see what I'm saying? See, like your spirit is pretty much like your brain activity, and your soul is like that celestial being, that ether that controls your body. I'm telling you, like shit deep. But anyway, so basically, it's this dude named I think his name is Whitley Striever or some shit like that, and he like a UFOologist too, or well, not a UFOologist, a ufologist, and he basically was like a disinformation agent against William Cooper. And like, so basically William Cooper, he had a show, a radio show back in the day called The Hour of the Time, where he like talked about the stuff that he seen when he was in the Navy. And then you got like other authors and shit, and I know one of them being Whitley Striever. He was a disinformation agent. He would put out like stuff about William Cooper, like to basically like discredit him and shit. And that's what's going on today, in today's times. And you see William Cooper, he got killed by the police in 2001, and I think in Eagar, Arizona or something like that. And it's fucking crazy because this whole time, like I've had his book Behold a Pale Horse. Somebody stole it, obviously. It's just fucked up. But I had his book Behold a Pale Horse. I had the original fucking copy. Very powerful shit. Somebody stole it. That shit got me pissed off. But I originally got the book from Minnesota. You see what I'm saying? When I lived in Minnesota, like last year, I had got the book because I lived by this bookstore, and they had the original fucking copy. I never would have even thought. And yeah, man, like when you just read the stuff that's in there, this man has this shit documented to the T. To us, like where nigga, like, how would he know this information if he was lying? And I'm talking about William Cooper. How would William Cooper know this information if he was lying? And you gotta remember, William Cooper, this man is intelligent, but he also tough because, nigga, he's in the Navy. That's one of the toughest fucking military branches to get in. But he was in the Navy. I mean, the toughest one really is the Air Force, but Navy is like right up under that. He served in the Navy as a naval intelligence officer, and he's seen classified documents. And I forgot who the general was at that time. I'll have to go back and do my research and find his name and stuff. But yes, this shit is real, bro. Like, and the same shit that they doing back then is the same shit they doing right now. And it's just like with the disinformation, it's just like if you out here, like, especially if you even do your research, you do your research and shit, and you always speaking like facts and shit. Hell no, they gonna hire other people. Like for example, like let's say when these people do one of their plays, oh shit, when these people do one of their plays, right? Or when they do one of their sacrifices and shit, you notice that like you'll have like real bloggers such as myself and probably like a few other people. They're telling you stuff against the narrative, and then you have these other people that's bloggers, but they're bought and paid for, so they're telling you this other narrative that's called disinformation. They spread, like for example, when you see people running with the same narrative, they're usually working together. And then don't get me wrong, you got a few dummies that's, you know, It's just trying to bandwagon and be like, oh, I gotta say this and I can get these views and shit like that. Like you got motherfuckers like that. But 9 out of 10, when you see most of these bloggers doing like running with a narrative, let's say for example, like somebody died from blood sacrifice or something. And you got all these people going with this narrative, it was this. But then you got real motherfuckers such as myself saying, no, nigga, look at this case again. It's a blood sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? Like, then you're gonna have other bloggers just randomly popping out trying to cover up that information. That's the same thing they was doing to William Cooper back in that day. But back in the day, they didn't have as much technology as they do now. But at the same time, they really did. The technology that these people really got is way more advanced than what we really think or know. So I'm pretty sure back in the day, they had basically pretty much all the shit we had now. It just wasn't like as high tech. And what I mean by that is like when you do technology and shit. Technology, a lot of this shit, this technology, it has crystals and minerals and all this shit that come from the earth. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a like if you know anything about engineering, it's like a prototype. You do shit in prototypes and phases, just like the moon. It goes in phases. So that's how you do your inventions if you're an inventor or engineer. You see what I'm saying? Any engineer knows this. You do phase one, or any plant scientist knows this. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm a plant scientist as well. And you do the same shit with your plants. You know what I'm saying? You put them in phases. You know what I'm saying? You put them in trials. So you're like, okay, this is a mother plant. You see what I'm saying? This is a male plant. You know, they growing and shit like that. You name them. You put the phenotype number one. Pheno number one, which means phenotype, physical trait type number one. You see what I'm saying? And you grow them out. You do the trials. One might survive. One might die. You see what I'm saying? And then once the other one survives that first trial, which is the seedling trial of your plant, and it goes to the motherfucking vegetative state, that's when it's in phase two. You see what I'm saying? I can kill and destroy anybody with this information, bro. I'm telling you, this shit, when I break this shit down, these niggas ain't ready for this shit. But I'm just giving you an example so you get what I'm saying. So basically, any inventor knows you do your inventions in phases. So when they release a new fucking, well, not a new, but like an old, let's say back in the day when they was releasing like Sony and all that shit and Samsung and all these people, they had probably like DVD players and VCRs and shit like that. But the shit had way more features on a lot of shit that they do now. But a lot of shit built in. You see what I'm saying? But that's just like phase one, nigga. That's the prototype. A couple years later, they drop another, excuse me, DVD or I'm just giving you an example, DVR type shit. But this time it's better. It's sleek and design, new color, all that type of shit. Like that's phase two. That's your second prototype or your second invention. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what he was doing. And the fact that so basically like the technology that they had back in the day had to be way more advanced. It had to be because it's like if you a naval intelligence officer and you work in the Navy, he already seeing documents and shit that you know what I'm saying, like only people that's classified in the Navy can see that's in that branch. You know what I mean? And for him to see this, but he actually has a soul, he want to go and tell this shit. You see what I'm saying? So he made that radio show the hour before the time. I mean, the hour of the time. And you know, it's crazy because this whole time, like I never knew William Cooper died in Arizona. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Like when I found that out last night, that shit blew my motherfucking mind. Because I listened to his radio show, the hour of the time, and in there he was going like basically like back in the day that was their form of live streaming when you had people call in, and you know like people they still live stream in today's time and they had people call in, but I'm just saying that was like the original live streaming back in the day. You see what I'm saying? Was having people call in, and when he had those people call in, he said his area code was 520, and I'm like, ain't that Arizona? So I looked it up, and yeah, it is. So yeah, he got killed by the police in Arizona. That shit is fucking crazy. And it's like, he even said the shit too. He said he'd rather die in combat than die on his knees, and that's what happened. He died in combat. So what I basically saying all that to say is that me personally, I never even thought I would even come to a state like Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you don't really hear too much about it. Cause me personally, I'm from the state of Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Chicago. But Chicago is the city, the state is Illinois, obviously. And you don't really hear too much about Arizona. You might hear little stuff like this and that, but you don't really know like details in it. And it might be vice versa too. And you know what I'm saying? Just me growing up in Chicago and shit, I always heard of the book Hold the Pale Horse. I always heard scholars and shit, people reference it, mention it. William Cooper this, William Cooper that. And I'm like, let me actually look into this shit. And then when I actually looked into this shit was like some real deal shit. And me personally, I'm just like, bro, like, I think his spirit probably lured me to come here, William Cooper. Because, like, if a person like William Cooper is in a place like Arizona, this motherfucker is intelligent, this smart, he got all his power and shit like that. He obviously knew something about Arizona to say, I want to reside here. Just saying. That's how I look at it. And for the fact that this is my first time ever being in Arizona, I'm like, yeah, that shit started to make sense. Because I never knew that. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if I knew that coming to Arizona. But I never knew that this whole time. I never even knew he was in Arizona. To be honest with you, I didn't even know where the fuck William Cooper was at when he was alive. I didn't know. I thought he probably was in California or something, because that's where he was born. No, this motherfucker was in Arizona this whole time. That shit crazy. And of course, being in the Navy, I'm pretty sure he traveled the world and did all that shit already. But that shit, wow. Shit crazy. But yeah, man, it's just something to think about. You know what I'm saying? This is the Esoteric Files, episode 2. Wake the damn up. More videos coming soon. More episodes.